My bandmate shared this, and I want to. What we're gonna do is watch CNN kind of react, kind of real time, to this realization that they may be completely out of the loop and completely disconnected from just regular people. Let's just watch it. Let's just watch it. This is gonna be a funny one. Of course, this is Mr. Potato Head, aka Brian Stelter, on his show Reliable Sources, which has always been a rather ironic name, huh?
It's in the Reliable Sources newsletter. Here's a big, overly broad question for you. Okay, is the media at this point out of touch with the public about COVID?
I think it's hard to argue that the media is a large group of people, but a lot of the media does seem, when I look at it and then travel the country, to be very out of touch with people. I mean, if you travel the country, people are not really living in the same bubble that it seems that most of the media is messaging toward.
No shit.
And so, yeah, and so I think this is an issue because if people are tuning out what's going on in cable news, if we're not messaging toward the general population, they're just ignoring everything and living their lives, and we're not really getting the information that they need to them.
All right, so basically, listening to what he had said, this man, Oliver Darcy, senior media reporter for Fake News Network, I kind of listen and read between the lines of what he just said. So he would confirm that, okay, if you leave outside of the bubble, that is, the people that listen to CNN, which, I mean, I still have, it's very difficult for me to believe that there's people that actually listen to CNN and give a fuck about anything it is that they say. But fuck those guys, because that's weird. But there are people out there that listen to CNN, and it's like news networks like that. If they don't cover it, it never happened. But there's a lot of folks that don't, especially in this day and age. People are getting their sources of news from other people, and CNN has not been fond of that. Brian Stelter has not been fond of that. He on his show has griped about people on YouTube, for example, and being able to get more viewership than CNN morning shows and all of that. But reading between the lines of what this man had to say and what he was saying is that he sees that as a problem. Now, he's not looking at the problem he's not looking at the problem through the lens of, okay, maybe there's a messaging issue in itself that the people aren't connecting with what it is that we say, or rather we don't offer a product for them that they want to consume in some way. And they're ignoring us because of that. He's not looking at it through that lens. He's looking at it through the lens of, well, they need to listen to us, and they're going on with their lives, essentially not listening to us is what that means. And definitely when you talk about COVID, not listening to us, and because of that, they can't act or react in the way that we want and expect them to react. Because again, they're not listening. They're not listening. They're more interested in other things. They're more interested in something else in terms of where they're getting their information from. And what that does is it shows you and really taps you into the mind of how media works, particularly in the mainstream. They're not there to sit up here and get you some information that you're going to digest. That's not what this is about. That is about informing you objectively. It's about telling you how to think, telling you what to think. No, we're not telling you how to think at all. Actually, it's telling you what to think. And that is something that is problematic to the mainstream. And that's why they have set their sights, like, again, talking about Brian Stelter and them griping and trying to use this medical misinformation or disinformation as a means to try to take people off of bigger platforms, or say other platforms, or say that those other platforms should somehow be removed or suppressed because they house disinformation that other people are flocking to. They realize that in the event that they, let's say, is the sustained sort of period of time where they can't get this information, again, telling people what to think, then they're powerless. They're essentially powerless. So it's a propaganda thing. It's a propaganda wing is more so what CNN and BSNBC and all these sorts of networks, alphabet networks, that really, it's not about informing people on what's really going on. It's more about an angle that they have that they want to take, and that's what they want you to digest. And that writing has been on the wall in the ratings. And also, I think perhaps more importantly, with the rise of media that is alternative and different from what they think. It's interesting. It's interesting. But to hear that live and in real time and hear them talk about, like, man, yeah, it's like we're disconnected, and that's not good. Not because our shit sucks. It's because how else are they going to get the propaganda? If they're not listening to us, how can we indoctrinate them? And that's the problem that the CNNs of the world see. And that's the problem with a lot of leaders and what it is they see. This is why the term misinformation and disinformation has been used so much, because really all it is wrong think.
You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.